Hello, everybody. Okay, so I want to pop on here today because there are a few things I feel like I really need to get off my chest right now. And I feel like they're necessary because these things that I want to get off my chest, these things that I feel are necessary, I feel are boosts. These are tools. These are coping strategies, okay? These are things that you can take with you on your walk every single day. Let these be your reminders, okay? So I've had a few really amazing days that have just blown my socks off, all right? And I don't want to get into it because I don't want to let the cat out of the bag until it's already done and I'm in that bag and I'm out and I'm like, "Hey, hello world, here I am," right? So, I am just going to step back for a moment and I'm just going to focus on the lesson. The lesson that I learned through some experiences that have evolved into such gratifying moments for me. And these gratifying moments really helped me solely dedicate that experience and how I was emotionally feeling, um, being humbled. I really want to be able to send um, a gratitude seance out to a few select individuals and places and things and thoughts. There are certain things that I would like to say to those specific labels, especially to the labels pertaining to underestimating who I am and what I'm capable of and what my worth is. And this is something that everybody should be taking for account for themselves. And this is how you should feel for you. Okay? So oftentimes we hold ourselves back based upon a lot of the chirping we hear around us, right? Sometimes when we hear a lot of chirping going on, they're usually from people that A, we don't talk to, or B, we don't even know, and they've just heard stories, right? Or C, it's through people that have false foundations with us. And while we may not see those things yet is the key word. And the reason why I say yet is because at the end of the day, the truth always reveals itself. The more authentic you are, the more of the truth will be revealed to you because you are speaking authentically and vibrating in that vibration and energetic frequency. Therefore, you're on that wavelength. And if you're on that wavelength of being authentic within yourself, then you're going to receive that authenticity back, right? Period. Point blank. And that's going to happen through everything. And it's going to happen through all of the highs and the lows, the dualities of the truth, right? Because every single thing holds duality. Everything. Okay? Change holds duality. Truth holds duality. Trust holds duality. People, above all things, are the epitome of duality because we see things from a high and we see things from a low. And it's a matter of what side we choose to wave on, right? And that goes with that same concept of that good wolf, bad wolf, and which wolf are you going to feed? That's the wolf that's going to show itself to the world, right? Because that's the wolf you're feeding, right? So you got a pessimistic wolf and you got an optimistic wolf. Are you going to feed the pessimism or are you going to feed the optimism? Because the more you're focusing on all the things that hold you back, the more you're going to stay stuck. The more you focus on all of the things that are going to propel you forward, the more movements you're going to find that you see yourself coming into and the more opportunities you're going to see yourself presented with because you're in a place of gratitude, being in the moment. Being in this pessimist place, there are people, places, and things that want to keep you there. All right? And the thing is, when you're already here, you're vibrating on this wavelength, which means you're going to attract this energy, which means you need to be paying very close attention to your surroundings and what you keep in your environment, and who and what and how and why you keep in your company. What is your company and what are you keeping there and why? What is it? What is it feeding? Is it feeding your heart or is it feeding your head? Right? And how much can one be capable of feeding their mind without it going and you erupting like a boiling tea kettle ready to explode? Because I'll tell you right now, you can only stay here for so long before things finally start spewing out. All right? So being here is way more beneficial because this is where that authenticity is. And with authenticity, the thing about authenticity and being authentic and bringing in authenticity is the fact that you are in fact building an authentic foundation. That's truth. You're building a foundation off of truth, which means it can't be dismantled at this point. How can you break truth? You can't. You can't break truth. There's no way of doing that. No matter what way you look at it, truth is truth. So anything that comes in that doesn't match the vibrations of your authenticity is going to vibrate out, because that's not a real foundation. It's false. It's not meant to be there. And at this point in your life, you're probably asking yourself, why is this happening to me? It's happening for you, right? We've heard that. We've heard that so many times. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you, because this is an experience. This is a lesson. This is to help you grow. This is what's growing you, right? You know, there's that saying about a garden, having that garden, and you know, what you keep in that garden is what that garden is going to represent. Are you going to keep a bunch of weeds in that garden? Are you going to have it filled with a bunch of mud? Are you going to let people come in with their dirt bikes and whatever else and, you know, mud it up, pit it up, put some jumps in there and completely dismantle everything you grew? Or are you going to put a gate up for your boundaries and say, you know what, not today, because this is my garden. I created this and I've gone this many years building this garden, and I've experienced this many things inside this soul, and I have had to lose so many of these pieces of fragments that I have had to now learn how to grab back for myself. And I know how overwhelming it is to get those things back, because those are pieces of myself that I forgot that I even owned. You know how overwhelming it can be and intimidating it can be to see how powerful you are? And that comes in the vibrations of your authenticity, in that authentic vibration that you carry in your being. Sometimes seeing that truth of who you are can be very scary. And oftentimes we'll run from that. And when we run from that, we run from all of the people, places, and things that are actually supposed to be there. We run from those things because those things are intimidating, because they're highlighting to us what we need to work on, right? That's why you have people that project. People will project onto you based upon the frequencies of people pleasing. They see you carrying out a dream. They see you achieving a goal and living life on your terms and doing what you love. And they want that, but they don't know how to break free from that space, that clouded judgment within themselves, and stating, I'm not worthy. It's where they're always at. I'm not. Be in an I am presence. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am capable. This is mine. I own this. This isn't just a thought. This is a thought that is within the space where I feel it, right? And then you expand that out. You dream bigger. You know, anybody that goes off to start living their dreams, right? When you're living your ultimate dream, you're not living unless you're in creative mode constantly. And your dream builds and it expands and it only amplifies and gets bigger. And the more of a successful mindset that you have based upon pursuing those dreams and healing the past, the more momentum you carry out, and the more you can collaborate, the more you can expand and excel and build. And then you can see something so much bigger, more like a movement than just something that's just a dream, right? You can make a movement. You can leave an imprint, something that's gonna, you know, bring that memory in and be like, when you leave, what are you gonna leave behind so that people are always gonna remember you for it? These are all of the things that I've had to really learn and understand based upon a lot of things that have been placed before me that were not in my control. These were all things based upon the fact that my mom's missing. I've had to live that kind of life where I've had to question things from a different perspective not many people would want to go to. In fact, many people would be terrified to even inspect that kind of perspective. But I had no choice. It was not in my control. But you see, the thing about those moments is I can sit in a place of pity. I can pity myself over it. and not do anything about it. Or I can start implementing some kind of change that could not only help people like my mom, but help people like myself and people like the things my family has experienced. You know, you cannot see change or expect it to happen if you can't be willing to speak or do anything about it. But we need to also understand that duality, which is a really big thing. Because through duality, you understand the principles behind and associated to one's actions and thoughts and behaviors and rhythms and everything and their characteristics, their motives. You see those things because you see their truth through that duality. It opens it wide up. They don't need to say much to you, but as soon as you see the dualities of it, you see it all. Actions speak louder than words, right? The reason why I wanted to jump on here today was because I wanted to give you guys a boost. I want you guys to see your worth. I want you guys to know that you don't suffer alone. There are so many people out there with challenging lives that are still trying their best to make a difference in the world. And some of them, and I'm guilty of this myself, will do those things to overcompensate for the lack of healing that took place within themselves. So I want to say from the bottom of my heart that if that's the path that you want to take, then you need to make sure you're healed first. You need to understand the depths of what you're doing before you do it. And unfortunately, some of us have to pursue the nitty-gritties, and we got to go through the mud, and our names got to be taken through the mud, and we've got to be faced with the most ratchet things in our lives to experience how deep it triggers and how deep it feels. But it's one of those things where it's like, if you want to be there, you need to be there. We have to experience things, to learn those things, to grow from those things so that we can develop the tools to help other people bring those tools in for themselves so that they don't have to experience those things that honestly are so unnecessary. People like myself grew up in the world and understanding how cruel the world was, like learning it far too young. And there are more people out there than one might realize that have experienced that. And that in itself creates trauma. There's blocks, there's stuck energy there because of experiences that unfolded. I want to say something pertaining to that. And this is coming from somebody, like I said, of a missing mom, of a very botched case. I'm just going to say that. I had to go 29 years in silence on behalf of my mom, Sherry Linda Baker, born November 28th, 1968. Her last known whereabouts was in Vancouver, British Columbia. Because she was a missing person during the time period of the Robert Pickton trial of the Port Coquitlam pig farm case, she was automatically placed on the list of individuals that was a possible victim in the whole case. And so because of that, a lot of people were offered an out with that. And at that point in my life, I wasn't as healed. I will say that. I wasn't in the right mind space, and I was young-hearted still. Had a lot to learn, a lot to go through. Very immature, very pessimistic, very low vibrational, not thinking clearly, seeing with rose-colored glasses, horrible perspective of life, and made some really poor judgment calls on it. But that doesn't mean that I can't talk about her story. That doesn't mean that I can't talk about my mom. That doesn't mean I can't talk about the things that I've gone through and the things that she had to endure and, you know, what it built us into. And that's the takeaway from all of this. And that's the punchline of this entire video today. Your enemies are your greatest assets. Why? Because without your enemies, you would not have that fire lit under your butt to get things done. You would just sit and mope in pity and shame, guilt, remorse, resentment, bitterness, jadedness. I mean, some people still do. And I'm one of those people that sat there and sulked in that energy for the longest time. And I'll tell you right now, it doesn't do anything but kill you. It really doesn't. It destroys you from the inside out. And while you might think that the outside world can't see what you're doing, they do. They do because of what you attract. What you attract for yourself and into your life is showing you something that you need to see that is highlighted. Might be something pertaining to family lineage that needs to be healed. May not have anything to do with you, but you may feel the guilt and the shame where you feel you have to carry that energy onto you, like it's you that has to be the one that fixes it. Don't put that on yourself like this is something that is meant for you to do, like you got to be some superhero. The only thing that you need to be doing is making sure you're healed. Fix you. It's not up to you to go out and save the world. It's up to you to save yourself and being in a space where you can have the tools and the coping mechanisms and the strategies. And if you're capable, physically capable, mentally capable, verbally capable, emotionally capable to be there and to be a support, then awesome, perfect. But don't throw away all of your cards so that you're empty in the process of that. You know, me and my brother spoke one day and we got on a conversation and he said, you know, at what point do you draw the line? Is it when they start taking the food out of your mouth when you're already in the middle of chewing that you draw the line, or do you just let them keep going? Right? You know, take that into account. It's like, you know, how much are you willing to let them take from you? Let others, people, places, and things take from you? You know, that's taking away from your growth. That's feeding you your growth. Are you gonna let them take what you're eating? You're already chewed food and let them take that too? Here, have it all. It kills you to hold yourself back like that, you know? So don't. Your enemy is your greatest asset. Let them be what lights a fire under your butt. They underestimate you, good, let them underestimate you. Let that be the momentum that you need to know that you're worthy. You're worthy or powerful, you're courageous, you are strong, you're charismatic, you can do this, you're dependable, you're independent. You can do this. We are all unique human beings. We are all here for a purpose, and we all carry something inside of us that nobody carries. And we all do. Every one of us. And that's why people project. Because they see what you carry that they don't. I'm not saying that some of the things that they see that you carry that they're not capable of growing within themselves, but there are certain traits that we hold inside of us nobody can take, that belong to solely us. Our experience as being number one. Everything that you have endured in your life, all of the poor things that have gone on in your life, the traumatic events, your name being dragged through the mud, you being, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter, okay? All of those things, being bullied, shamed, accused, attacked, cornered, manipulated, abused, all of those things hold meaning. And while they are so tragic and horrible and dense and just heavy, you were chosen to carry that heaviness. It takes a really strong person to carry your story. Just like it takes a really strong person to carry mine. And that's why I know I was meant for the job. I was meant to take on went in to take on my life. Nobody could have filled these shoes but me. I look around me and I see other people and I'm like, wow, you know, and this is not out of a place of pride or ego, but this is out of a place of of love and unconditional love, believe me, because I do not wish my life on anybody at all, ever in any way. The confusion and the ugliness of the continuous transformations that I was forced to go through and start going through at such a young age, and learning how to process at such a young age. I do not wish that on anybody, but you know what? Those who have had to endure that and struggle with that and have to be faced with that kind of life, my heart is with you. I pray for you, and I know damn well that you are meant for this job, and you'll do whatever it takes to see it through. Let your enemies be your greatest asset. Let them be what lights the fire under your butt and gets you to work. People are always going to talk, no matter what you do. So give them something to talk about. When you're looking in the mirror, give yourself something to talk about. But remember, you were placed here for a reason. You weren't placed here to mope around and talk about your shitty past. You were placed here so that you could make change happen based upon the things you experienced in your shitty past. And that's the takeaway. And that's what you bring forward, because that's the tool. And you can thank your enemies for that, because they were the ones that placed those tools there, because you were the one that put them in question. So you could accumulate those tools for you. Those are internal tools, coping strategies and skills you have learned and obtained. And while some of them may feel unhealthy, you're still navigating through them. You're still trying to understand all of the ingredients that came with that experience. And that's okay. Cry, scream, go, do what you need to do to get it out. Just make sure it's in a healthy way and you're doing something good that's going to make you feel better. Right? Just don't hurt yourself or hurt anybody in the process, and make sure you come from a place of unconditional love when you're getting it out. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is holding things in and not being willing to move because you're so scared of everything else, because you've been holding yourself back based upon the pity and the shame that everybody throws on you because they see your worth. They don't want you to see your worth. And that's the point. There are energies strategically placed before us so that we will not see what we ourselves are capable of doing, lowering ourselves and feeding that bad wolf instead of that good wolf, feeding ugliness, more ugly and shame, bringing you down even more. You can continue feeding them, bringing yourself down, or you can start feeding this one and bring yourself up, and see that when you bring yourself up, other people follow. Other people are there. Your supports are there. You are there. You're not down here. You'll never find yourself down here. Your experiences are down here. And that's that duality. You need to understand the takeaway from the experiences. All of the things that made you strong, because you were strong enough for this. You can adapt to the things that other people cannot adapt to based upon your personal experiences. So be grateful for your enemies, because they help build you into who you were meant to be. And that's my punchline for today, you guys. Thanks for following Tides of Change. If you like my vibes, give me a smash, subscribe, like that button there, thumbs up, and stay tuned, because there will be more. Love you guys. Bye.